Hi. Okay, so now I'm going to share some stories of some crazy landlords because I've had a lot. Holy cow, I've had a lot. Okay, so my college town is notorious for crappy landlords and total slumlords. I had one that was really notorious for ripping people off, and we didn't, mainly because my roommate's father was a well known judge. And when she signed the paperwork, he was with her and he was like, "You will not screw over my daughter or her friend. That is a fact." And I found that out later, how badly she screwed over people, and that thanks to my roommate's judge daddy, we didn't get screwed. But she screwed over a lot of people. And then there was the best roommate, not roommate, the best landlord I had in that town. They changed the locks one day while we were gone, just at work and school. We come home and can't get in. And so we go to the office to complain, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's we can change the locks." I'm like, "We need 24 hours notice if you're going to be in our place." And they were like, "Well, he's a really nice guy who did it." I don't care how freaking nice he is. I don't care if it's the Pope. We need 24 hours notice. Yeah, that was the best landlord I had in that town. Awesome. Um, the landlord I had to end up suing, oh, he was great fun. It was a hellhole. One step above homeless. He wouldn't activate the buzzer for me, even though I couldn't walk down the stairs to collect my guests because I was a fall risk and I would keep falling because of the homeless problem. Well, then take care of the people who let their homeless friends in. Whatever. But when I have a doctor's note saying that you need to give me reasonable accommodations like access to the buzzer, then you better do that. So yes, I won the lawsuit, and his lawyer was all pissed and wanted to appeal, and I was like, "You do that." I didn't win very much. I only won 1,000, but I was being a dick during court, and it was kind of fun. I was like, "Are you the lawyer that signed off on these papers with these egregious grammatical errors?" Because I just want to meet the lawyer who obviously has no idea how the English language works. And the lawyer was like, "Well, yes, I'm the lawyer." And I was like, "Pleasure." He was like, "Pleasure." And then I didn't recognize my old landlord, and I was like, "Where's Tom?" And he was like, "I'm right here." And well, the first time I'd seen him, he looked like a sewer rat who literally, like, he looked like he just crawled out of the sewer. Long, scraggly hair, hadn't bathed in weeks, and really skinny, right? And he'd put on a lot of weight since then. To be honest, it actually looked good on him. But, I was too big of a dick to say that because I didn't like him. And I was like, "Oh, you've put on a lot of weight since then. I hadn't recognized you." Yeah. And then I said that the place was unlivable, and they were like, and the judge was like, "It's unlivable for you." And I was like, "With all due respect, Your Honor, no one who lives there has bathed in a year." And the other tenants were all offended because they brought some witnesses. Whatever. I still won. I mean, not as much as I feel like I should have because he lost me a lot of money by a lot of whatever, but the only stuff I could physically prove was the doctor's note that he claims he never got, but he did. Anyway, but here's my crappiest landlord, though even worse than this guy. I didn't sue. Had been a friend of my father's, and he had been mayor, and he wouldn't ever fix anything. I had to have my friends fix everything. He would fix absolutely nothing. And then after a while, he started being, he calls me up one day and he's like, "All right, I just want to remind you to vote." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you for the reminder." And he goes, "And this is how you need to vote." And I was like, "No, you don't get to tell me how to vote." And he was like, "Well, your father would vote this way if you talk to him." And I was like, "Actually, my dad's not in this precinct." And we did chat about it, and this is the one thing we would have agreed on. He wanted to turn an abandoned high school into a community center, but there was a community center not 5 blocks away. So the other option was to sell the abandoned high school to a movie company because a lot of movies film in high schools, and that would be awesome. It would bring in a lot of tourism. They would maintain the high school. It wouldn't work as an actual high school, but it would be maintained as a building and not looked like a derelict. And now I didn't know that it was his bill he was trying to push on me. But I was like, A, my father's not in this precinct. B, we do actually agree on this one. C, it doesn't even matter. And D, my father doesn't even get to tell me how to vote. Okay, I'm 32 at the time. And since that point, he started being a total dick to me, right? And then at one point, there was some sewage coming up through my bathtub. And I knew he wouldn't do anything about it. So I had my friend snake the house, and he couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. Okay, so I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And so I call him, and I'm like, there's sewage coming up through the bathtub. And he's like, well, when you moved in 3 years ago, then the pipes were fine, so you broke them, you fixed them. Really? That's not how it works. Well, as it turned out, there was a tree root had started growing in the pipes underground. And unbeknownst to anyone, it had now started to become an actual tree, but it was growing in sideways in the pipes because that's the direction it had. So it was blocking the pipes. There was an actual large tree root in the pipes. And so my house was not the only house with this problem. And city, also, if he'd pushed his bill, if his bill had passed, then homeowners would pay $7 more a month or a year or something, which means my rent would have gone up because he would have had to charge me more. And besides, we didn't need another community center. We had one 5 blocks away. So anyway, so the tree root was blocking the sewage. So the city took care of it, and next to the tree root were tampons and other things that were flushed down the toilet. Now, tampons are perfectly acceptable to be flushed down the toilet. They are made to be flushed down the toilet. Not the wrappers, but the actual tampons. And my landlord said to my father that I caused the backup by my tampons. Okay, my personal tampons blocked the entire city sewage. Okay, the entire city. They had to reconstruct the entire zone because of my tampons, right? Okay, sorority houses would be exploding everywhere, you dumbass. And I don't even know how else, what else to tell you, you dumbass. But my father says to him, no, actually, I'm pretty sure it was the tree root that was causing the problem, and Celeste hasn't menstruated in 5 years. And then my landlord says, well, I didn't know that. My dad's like, why would you? You're her landlord. I'm her father. My landlord was offended that he didn't know something that deeply personal about me. Yeah, my father's allowed to know. You're not, you friggin' weirdo.